Hello! So I'm going to be doing a tag today. I was tagged in this by Leslie from Words in a Reader, and it is the Writing Habits tag. So, number 1. Typed or handwritten? I have done a bit of both in the past, but I find it a lot easier to type because I am that person from that generation who has all of the technology at their disposal. And my writing isn't the easiest to read, so typing, yes. Number 2, cursive or printed? When I write by hand, I always write cursive unless it's a heading for some reason. I don't know why, and I can't read it back again once I've written it, but yeah, cursive. It's just cursive. Number 3, show us your favorite pen. That is very simple. This, everyone, don't know if you can see the writing there. This is my favorite pen. It's kind of scungy, it's kind of broken, it's old, the grip's real dirty, and it says Dan Burns Word Factory on the side. I have absolutely no idea what Dan Burns Word Factory is. But the story behind this pen is one of my friends, when I lived in a different town, found this in a house he moved into. This was the only thing left in the house. It was completely empty apart from Dan Burns Word Factory pen. And he kept it and it worked for ages and ages and ages. And then one day it sort of fell apart and he just went, you can have it. So then I reassembled it back together, and it's kind of scungy and it's got fingerprints on it because I glued it back together, which probably wasn't the smartest idea, but it worked. And yeah, then I inherited Dan Burns Word Factory. This is Dan Burns. He's my pen. And it's nice and thick, which is good because I have bass player fingers and not all pens work and they hurt, and the grip stops me from putting gigantic dints in my fingers because I probably hold pens too firmly. So that's my favourite pen, Dan Burns. Number 4, where do you like to write? Generally, I write in the lounge room of our house, which has a large leather lounge with a small coffee table in front of it, and I put the computer on the coffee table and I sit on the lounge. I know, hard to keep up with, right? And that's where I do most of my writing. I also like writing in a cafe in Newcastle called Coffee on Crown. I very much like the environment there. But generally, I'm pretty comfortable writing everywhere, but I'd say those are my 2 writing locations, yeah. Number 5, who are your favourite authors in terms of authorial style? Authorial? Authorial style. Okay, my first one is going to be pretty obvious, and it's Tolkien. I just really like the way he writes. It sucks me into his world. It sucks me into his world, and I don't know, I'm not left questioning any of the details around what's going on or anything like that, which I suppose is what writers really should be doing, but not all of them do. My second is Terry Pratchett. I really like I'd say the comedy stylings of Terry Pratchett's writing. It's serious at times, but then in an instant it'll just flick back to this wacky world where you're not entirely sure ever what's going on. And it just makes you laugh, just out of nowhere, unexpected things. It makes you laugh, it's really good, I really like it. My third writer is, I just noticed that the book actually has the word 3 on it. It's Alexandre Dumas. Yeah, an old one, and I just really like the style of his writing as well. I don't really know how else to describe it. I mean, it is old, so the language is different, but with some old writing, I have a bit of trouble reading it in my head, I suppose. I have to go back over some sentences because the sentence structure of just how they spoke then when it was written was different, so I'm not used to it. But I've never had that problem with Dumas, so yeah, he's number 3 on my list. Now, number 4 and 5 are going to be a bit more nerdy. Not that the first 2 weren't nerdy, I suppose. Just a different sort of nerdy. Number 4 is Drew Karpyshyn. He's written a lot of Star Wars stuff. I believe he's working on his own fantasy series at the moment. But yeah, it's just really good. It's crisp and clear and concise and to the point, and he just writes really good stories if you like Star Wars, which I do, and the Old Republic, which is part of the extended universe, which I do very much. I possibly like it more than the main Star Wars universe, but that's a video for another time. And the last one is Frank Miller. I just really like his gritty style, basically. It doesn't feel like there's any punches held in his writing. If there's something that he thinks a character should be saying, they'll say it. It's shocking, it's confronting at times, it's really good. It's really, really good. If you're into graphic novels, check out Frank Miller, because he does some good stuff. Obviously, if you're into graphic novels, you've heard of Frank Miller. You've owned Frank Miller. So, yeah. Good work, Redondo. Number 6. What are your 3 favourite books on writing? I have not read books about writing, really. The only one I can think of is Books, Baguettes and Bedbugs. And it's not so much a book about writing, but a book about his time in Paris that he spent at the Shakespearean Company. Jeremy Mercer, sorry, is the writer, and he wrote in Paris while he was there. And he sort of talks about his writing a bit, not a great deal. It's more about the store and the story there, but yeah, it's really good. Look it up. If you haven't heard about this, read it, because I didn't know anything about it, and I just got so sucked into this, so sucked into it. Number 7. Have you ever competed in NaNoWriMo? Yes. Twice, in fact. This is my 2nd year competing, and it's going okay, if I do say so myself. Number 8. Have you ever won NaNoWriMo? Yes, I have. I won the first year I did NaNoWriMo, which I am incredibly proud of course. But I'm close to winning this year's, and I'm hoping I can, so that's the thing. Yeah. 9. Have you ever had anything published? No, is the short answer to that question. I've done some game reviews and that sort of stuff, but I never ended up submitting them anywhere that they might have got published, so maybe I could do something about that. But really, I mean, we all just want to get a book published, don't we? That would just be the coolest thing in the world. So I'm hoping that with one of the things I write, that happens sometime in the future. And then one day in the distant future I can revisit this tag, and then I can answer, yes, yes I have, here is my book. Number 10. What projects are you working on now? Well, apart from my NaNoWriMo story, which this year is about cowboys and pirates, I have a story about a sort of future samurai type guy that's involved with the police type thing. Yeah. I've also got a story about a woman who boards a spaceship and then ends up being stuck there by herself, basically. I've got a story in a fantasy setting about a thief and her travels, and I'm also writing a short story about a detective because I felt like it, and I was reading lots of detective noir stuff and watching detective noir stuff, so I was in the mood to try and write something like that, so I started. And we'll see how that goes too. So I've got a lot of stuff on the go all at one time, but I think I can do it all. I do actually go back to these things and revise them and read over them and add more to them, so I'm constantly working on them as well. So that's good. I don't feel like I've just started a whole bunch of stuff that I'm never going to finish. Number 11. What is your soundtrack to writing? I would suppose my soundtracks would be the playlists that I've created of music that I listen to while I'm writing, which is very different to the music I listen to when I just want to listen to music. I never seem to be in the specific mood to listen to the music I want to listen to when I'm writing, if that makes sense. Did that sentence make sense? I think it did. But it contains, among others, Renee Olstead, Jane Monheit, Sophie Millman, Erin Boheme. It also contains a bit of Tom Waits. We've also got Scarlett Johansson's Tom Waits cover album, Colin Hay, and also Mia Jovovich, who's more known for her acting and modelling, I suppose. But she released some demos years ago, it would have been, and I don't remember how I found them, but I found them, and I don't know, they're really good. It's a very specific sound she's created, and it just sort of sucks me in and gets me in a creative mood. Also, I listened to the soundtrack from Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, particularly underground background music, I don't know why, and the soundtrack to Super Mario 64 and Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Take from that what you will. And number 12, do you have a writing pump-up song? And I would have to say that my writing pump-up song, the specific song that it would be out of all the stuff that I listen to when I'm writing, would have to be I Don't Want to Grow Up by Scarlett Johansson from the Tom Waits cover album, Anywhere I Lay My Head. If you haven't listened to it, listen to it. It's really good. She's got a really good voice. It's really good. And there we have it, the writing habits tag. Now I'm going to go ahead and tag 3 people that I would like to see do this video. I was going to tag One Book One Review as well, but she was already tagged. So I'm going to tag Cherie Moore. I really hope I'm getting everyone's names right, by the way. Tell me in the comments if it's wrong. Also tell me in the comments anything. If you've got something to say about anything I've said, say it. I'd like to hear it. I'm also going to tag Caitlin Plavala. I'm sorry if I said your name horribly wrong. And I'm going to tag Total Sympathy, because he is also doing NaNoWriMo, and he makes videos too. And I'd like to hear his opinions. So there you go. That's the thing. And I did it. And now you can do it. And I hope to watch the things. Bye.